We're back for another episode and another deep dive. Let's get ready.
All right, so picture this. A Swiss Army knife, but for your marketing. One tool that does it all, powered by AI. That's the buzz around MediaMonk, and we're going to dive deep into whether it lives up to the hype.
What's really interesting here is how MediaMonk is trying to be more than just another platform. It's an ecosystem.
An ecosystem. So is that just a fancy way of saying all their tools are designed to work together? Like they share data and learn from each other?
Exactly. And that's actually a big deal because it addresses a challenge for businesses: consistency. Think about it. How many ways does your brand communicate? Emails, social media, customer service calls. If those messages are all over the place, it can be super confusing for your audience.
Totally. It's like 1 minute you're getting this super formal email and the next there's a meme on their Instagram. It's like, who are you, brand?
Right. And that's what they're trying to solve. They call it brand intelligence. You basically feed the system info about your business, your target audience, values, your goals. And MediaMonk's AI uses that to make sure everything you put out there, from blog posts to sales calls, aligns with your brand.
So it's less about like micromanaging all these different tools and more about setting the overall strategy and letting the AI handle the rest. That's pretty neat. But I mean, lots of companies claim to have AI-powered tools these days. What makes MediaMonk different?
Well, from what I've gathered, it's the depth of integration between their extensions. They have Alt, Fona, and webinars. And these aren't just random names. They actually represent different parts of your marketing strategy that MediaMonk's trying to streamline.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Let's break those down one by one. What can these extensions actually do? Give us the rundown, starting with Alt. What's that all about?
So Alt is their AI-powered email system. But it's not just for blasting out generic newsletters. Think hyper-personalized campaigns that land in the right inbox at the right time, all while sounding like you wrote them personally.
Well, hold on. So no more mass emails that just end up ignored. What's the secret sauce there?
It's more than just adding someone's name to the top. Alt actually segments your audience based on their behavior, interests, where they are in your sales funnel. You get higher open rates, more engagement, and ultimately more leads, because each email feels like you handcrafted it, not mass-produced.
Okay, that's slick. I see what they're going for. Now, what about this Fona thing? It sounds kind of like a personal AI assistant that makes calls for you, which honestly is both amazing and a tiny bit Black Mirror-ish.
It's definitely cutting edge.
Yeah.
Fona is designed to handle both inbound and outbound calls, schedule appointments, answer queries, and even tackle those dreaded cold calls and follow-ups.
Hold up. AI that can handle cold calls without, breaking a sweat. That's kind of impressive, but isn't there a risk of it sounding, robotic or too salesy? People can sniff out a generic script a mile away.
That's the million-dollar question, right? MediaMonk says that Fona uses something called real-time adaptability and neuro-emotional persuasion to make conversations feel natural. Basically, it analyzes your voice tone and the flow of the conversation and adjusts its approach to build rapport, which honestly is super important for any sales call, AI-powered or not.
So it's like learning on the fly and reacting to how the person on the other end is responding. That's pretty wild. And to be honest, slightly unnerving. How good is this AI getting?
It's definitely pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible, but you have to remember the effectiveness of all this relies on how well it's integrated with the rest of the MediaMonk ecosystem, which brings us to their webinars extension.
Okay, before we dive into webinars, I need a minute to process this whole AI that can read emotions thing. This is heavy stuff. But in the interest of knowledge, let's keep going. What's the deal with these webinars? Are we talking your standard, stuffy online presentations, or is MediaMonk doing something different here?
Right, webinars. I gotta admit, when I hear webinars, my mind goes straight back to those early Zoom days, Everyone in their pajamas, awkward silences.
Yeah, I feel you.
But MediaMonk's pushing these as a core part of their strategy, so I'm guessing they must be doing something different.
You got it. It's easy to think of webinars as this old school thing, but MediaMonk is really banking on that evergreen format, available 24/7. Think of it like having a sales pitch or product demo running constantly, capturing leads even while you sleep.
Okay, yeah, I get the efficiency of always being on, but how do you make an evergreen webinar not feel stale? Like that last banana in the bunch, nobody wants to touch it. That's where the interactivity comes in. MediaMonk's big on the idea that these aren't just passive videos. We're talking built-in polls, Q&A sections, even like timed offers that pop up during the presentation. It's about recreating that live experience, but with the convenience of on-demand access.
So you're telling me someone could be up at 3 a.m., suddenly decides to learn about this thing they're curious about, and boom, personalized webinar experience tailored to their sleep-deprived interests.
Exactly. And because it's all powered by AI, the webinar can actually adjust based on how the viewer's engaging with it. Like, imagine watching and getting targeted offers based on what sections you're clicking on or how much time you're spending on certain things.
That's some next-level personalization right there.
Yeah.
It's like those choose-your-own-adventure books, but for learning about, well, whatever your business does. Okay, I'm sold on the concept of evergreen webinars now. But let's shift gears a bit.
Yeah.
We've talked about how MediaMonk helps you create content, but what about getting that content in front of the right people? That's where inbound marketing comes in, right?
100%. And MediaMonk's approach to inbound marketing is all about using AI to, well, not just create content, but to do it smarter, more efficiently.
So we're not just talking about, like, churning out blog posts and hoping they magically rank on Google.
Nope, not at all. Imagine this. You're stuck on what to write about. You log into MediaMonk, and its AI analyzes your existing content, your competitors, even current trends, to suggest ideas tailored for you.
Okay, that's pretty handy. It's like having a brainstorming partner who's already done all the research beforehand.
Right.
But coming up with ideas is one thing, right? Turning those ideas into actual content is a whole other beast.
And MediaMonk tackles that too. Once you've got your ideas, the platform helps you transform them into all sorts of content formats, from blog posts and social media updates to even scripts for your AI voice assistant, Fona, to use during those personalized calls we talked about.
So one idea could become a blog post, a tweet, and even a phone script. Talk about maximizing your efforts. That's really smart.
Yeah.
But what about actually getting that content seen? It's not enough to just like throw it out there into the void. You've got to make sure it reaches your target audience, right?
Absolutely. And MediaMonk claims their platform can actually help you distribute that content across all your different channels. We're talking scheduling social media posts, optimizing for search engines, even analyzing how your content's performing.
Okay, so it's like having a whole marketing team working behind the scenes, making sure your content gets seen by the right people. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But how do you know if it's actually working? What about measuring the results of all this?
Well, MediaMonk says they've got you covered there, too. They claim to provide really detailed analytics on all your content's performance. That means you get a clear picture of what's resonating with your audience so you can adjust your strategy as you go.
It's like they're closing the loop on that whole content marketing process. You get ideas, create the content, distribute it, and then analyze what works. It's all connected. I have to say, this is a lot to take in, but I'm starting to see how powerful this whole ecosystem approach could be.
It is impressive, but we have to keep in mind, we're still looking at MediaMonk's claims here, right? Inbound marketing is just one piece of the puzzle. There's still the whole world of outbound marketing, which, let's be real, can sometimes feel like a necessary evil.
Ugh, tell me about it. Cold calls, email blasts. Sometimes it feels like we're stuck in the marketing dark ages over here, but MediaMonk is saying they could even revolutionize that with AI.
That's what they're saying. And they're really putting their AI where their mouth is. They're not just talking about generic blasts anymore. They're talking about using AI to make outbound marketing more targeted, more effective.
All right, I'm intrigued, but also a little skeptical. Let's unpack this. How does MediaMonk propose to fix something as seemingly unfixable as outbound marketing? Okay, let's talk about outbound marketing. The part of the job nobody loves, but somebody's got to do it. How's MediaMonk going to change things up with AI?
Well, they're sticking with that same idea we've been talking about, right? Personalization and automation, but taken to a whole new level.
Okay, I'm listening.
Remember Alt, their AI email system? They're not just using it for newsletters. They're using it for super targeted campaigns designed to cut through all the noise.
So instead of those generic email blasts that make people hit unsubscribe immediately, it's about making messages that people actually want to read.
Exactly. Imagine this. You've got your audience, right? And you've segmented them based on their interests.
Gotcha.
Alt can create unique email campaigns for each segment. It can tailor the message, even the tone, the call to action, all based on what's going to resonate with that specific group.
Okay, I can see how that kind of personalization could actually make a difference. But what about the people who just ignore emails altogether? how do you reach those people?
That's where MediaMonk's making a big bet on the power of voice.
Voice. You mean like actually picking up the phone and talking to people? Isn't that like incredibly time-consuming? Especially if you're trying to scale your business.
That's where their AI voice assistant, Fona, comes in. Remember we were talking about it handling cold calls?
Yeah.
Well, MediaMonk sees Fona being used for all sorts of outbound stuff. Qualifying leads, following up after webinars, even setting appointments.
So instead of spending hours dialing numbers and getting sent straight to voicemail, you can have Fona do the pre-qualifying and schedule calls only with people who are actually interested.
Exactly. And because Fona can analyze conversations as they're happening, it can adjust what it's saying based on how the person is responding.
So it feels more natural, less salesy.
Exactly.
It's like having a whole team of expert callers working around the clock, but without all the hassle of managing actual humans.
Exactly. And because Fona is connected to the rest of MediaMonk's system, it can use data from those calls to personalize future communications even more. It's like this constant loop of learning and improving.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get the bigger picture here. MediaMonk isn't just a bunch of separate AI tools. It's about how they all work together to create a really effective marketing strategy.
Right. And that brings us to their last two pillars: client education and client communication.
Oh yeah, those are important.
MediaMonk believes those shouldn't be afterthoughts. They should be part of every stage of the customer journey.
So it's not just about getting new customers. It's about
Yeah.
keeping the ones you have and turning them into, like, raving fans.
Yes, and they see those evergreen webinars as a key part of that. I
Right.
talked about how efficient they are, how personalized they can be, but MediaMonk wants them to be more than just sales pitches. They should be valuable resources.
So you might have a webinar on how to get the most out of your product, or one that explains big trends in the industry, something that provides real value, even if someone doesn't make a purchase right away.
That's the idea. And because they're available on demand, those webinars can generate leads and educate potential customers forever.
It's like having a 247 customer education center, but without actually having to staff it. Pretty cool.
Right. And MediaMonk says these webinars are just one touch point, you know? Like after someone watches, Alt can send them personalized follow-up emails based on what they engaged with. Fona can even call them to see if they have questions or need help.
So it creates this really seamless experience, no matter what stage the customer's at.
Exactly. And because all these tools are talking to each other, sharing data, businesses can understand their customers on a much deeper level, which is incredibly valuable whether you're creating a new campaign or just trying to make your customer service better.
It does sound like MediaMonk is really trying to deliver on their whole comprehensive marketing ecosystem thing. But like with any new tech, there are definitely some things to think about.
Definitely. Like, is it realistic for businesses to run their entire marketing strategy on one platform, even if it is as comprehensive as MediaMonk claims to be?
That's a good point. And if you do rely on just one system, what happens if you need to change things up? Could it limit your flexibility down the line?
Those are definitely things to consider. And we got to remember that technology, no matter how advanced, is just one tool. The success of your marketing depends on the people using those tools, on their skills and creativity.
So true. So if you're thinking about AI-powered marketing platforms like MediaMonk, make sure you go in with open eyes. Weigh the benefits against your own needs and your long-term goals. And hey, maybe even have a chat with Fona while you're at it. See how human it really feels. That's it for our deep dive into MediaMonk. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep your marketing strategies innovative.
That's it for this episode. If you've enjoyed today's deep dive, don't forget to hit the follow or subscribe button. Until the next episode, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep marketing deeply.